a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to Tobago Updates morning show. We are glad to be in studio with you, and we are continuing the theme for this week. It is International Women's Day week, and we are celebrating women all week. I want to thank you for joining us on YouTube, on Facebook, AMPLIA, and Digicel, and you are viewing us live here in the Port Mall. I am your host, Renessa Ortiz. But before we go any further into this morning's programming, we go on over to news in 90 seconds. Tobago migrant interviews begin at Dwight York. THA clarifies its global stance, a new deadline for landlords, and PNM hosts an opposition press conference later today. Your news in 90 seconds starts now for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. In-person migrant interviews begin today at the Dwight York Stadium till March 11th. This is a critical step for registered migrants in Tobago to verify their status and finalize work permits. Authorities are urging applicants to arrive only at their scheduled times and ensure all original documents are ready for inspection to avoid delays in the processing line. The THA is reaffirming its neutral stance on international affairs. While the Assembly expressed support for Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessa's recent address at CARICOM's 50th Heads of Government meeting in St. Kitts, Chief Secretary Farley Augustine maintains that Tobago remains laser-focused on internal development and regional cooperation. Landlords, your deadline is ticking. Online registration for the Landlord Business Surcharge officially commenced yesterday. All property owners earning rental income above the designated threshold must register through the new digital portal. Failure to comply by the end of the current quarter could result in significant penalties under the updated tax code. Finally, on the political front, the PNM will be hosting a press conference later today, which comes on the heels of the 21st sitting of the House of Representatives last Friday. This briefing follows their National Women's League meeting at Balize House earlier in the day on Saturday, February 28th, which preceded the party's General Council meeting that afternoon. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Tune in again at 6:30 p.m. for a full newscast. Now, viewers, before we continue with the programming this morning, we're going to go for a short break and we'll be right back.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back. As previously mentioned before we went to the break, it is International Women's Week, and we are going to be celebrating with women in leadership, women in religion, and women in culture this morning. But before we get into any of those conversations, we want to celebrate with those who are celebrating with us this morning. We head on over to our birthday shout-outs. First up, we want to say happy birthday to Brenda from her daughters Natalia, Naya, and Nelise, and husband Marlon Nancis. May God truly bless her to see forever. Happy birthday to you, Brenda, and we're wishing you a fun-filled day, and you spend it with your daughters and your husband. Up next, we have Nicola English. Happy birthday to you. You look very lovely in your pink. I'm loving the tweed. I'm not sure if I may be able to take a borrow in it. I'm not sure I'm your size, but I'm sure that you're going to spend today filled with lots of love, laughter, and joy. Up next, we have Nicole Martino. Happy birthday to you. From the Tobago Updates family, we wish you a bright and vibrant day today, filled with lots of joy and laughter, prosperity in the new year going ahead, and that today all your wishes come true and that you spend it with those who love and appreciate you and all God's richest blessings upon your life. And that's it for our birthday shout outs this morning. And to those of you who did not make it on the lineup, we want to wish you a happy birthday. And remember to send in all of your celebratory programming to us so that we can shout you out here on Tobago Updates Morning Show. I'm going to go right into the rundown this morning. This morning we have Joelle Green George. She is the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Writers Guild. Caribbean Women in Leadership in Trinidad and Tobago. She's the chairwoman and she's the Caribbean Book Marketing Hub CEO. And we're talking women in leadership. After that, we have Pulwati Bipat. She's no stranger here to the Tobago Updates family. She's the head of the Hindu Society in Tobago. And we have Gatlin Arthur Chance, pastor of Holistic Transformation Ministries. Here we are going to be speaking about women in religion. And after that, we have Ayana Ned. She's the winner of Tobago Carnival Monarch 2025. And we're talking about women in culture for International Women's Day 2026. Now, viewers, stay tuned. We're going to head to a short break and we'll be right back with our first interview. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Who said the elderly can't have fun too? We're talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy, did these seniors have fun. However, However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the sound of good steel pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Pick up Heavenly Care Home for the elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger.
TL Promotion presents Laugh and Live this Good Friday, 7 p.m. It's non-stop laughter at Birchwood Legacy Park, Lowlands. Special guest from Jamaica, Mr. Funny himself, Owen Blacker Ellis. From Trinidad, Rising Comics, Alan the Entertainer, and Son Son. And from Tobago, Amateur Comic, Bishop Terence Baines. Listen, this is a laughing matter. Get your tickets now at Den's Electronics, 2nd floor, Port Mall, Scarborough. An Island e-tickets or call 685-1988. At the door, you will pay more. It's gonna be a family affair. Laughter is good for the soul, whether you're young or you're old. So get your tickets now. You can't afford to miss it. Add some laughter to your Easter.
Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
And viewers, on the screen we are seeing the Wilson Road traffic light. It's your daily traffic report. We are seeing that traffic is heading into Scarborough presently from that Plymouth Road area. We are seeing traffic from the east to the west is generally light, and you still have that opportunity to get on the road to head to work and to drop your children off to school. It is 7:09 a.m. so you're still very early. Traffic is free flowing into Scarborough. We are seeing that there are persons trying to get out of Scarborough waiting on the traffic light to turn green. And that was your traffic report this this morning. Viewers, welcome back. And in studio with me this morning, no stranger to the media space, our co-host this morning is Miss Avion Parks. Good morning, Avion.
Good morning, Vanessa. And it's always a pleasure to be here at Tobago Updates. Of course, I'm on a different side of the table, but it's a pleasure none the same. So I want to say good morning to all your viewers. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning to all in the diaspora and internationally. It's a great Tuesday, and it's a pleasure being here.
And it's a pleasure to have you in studio with us, Avion. I know you're one of my role models when it comes to media.
You're making me blush this morning.
So this morning when I heard that you were going to be my co-host, I was just very excited to be sharing this platform with you this morning.
Yes, Vanessa, it's been a pleasure. I met you, what was it, about 2 years ago when you entered the pageant, and I had the opportunity to do photo ops with you and chat with you, and then we met again. I think it was for an International Women's Day event, actually, at Scarborough RC. I don't know if you remember that. I think that may have been last year or the year before, but it's good to see you in the media industry because I know that's your passion and you are growing. So all the best.
Thank you so much. Now, viewers, we're going to head straight into our first interview this morning. We are here in studio with Joelle Green George, Trinidad and Tobago Writers Guild President, Chairwoman of the Caribbean Women in Leadership Trinidad and Tobago chapter, and she's also the CEO of Caribbean Book Marketing Hub. Good morning, Joelle, and welcome.
Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning, Joelle. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here today.
So we're going to start the interview off with asking you about this year's theme. What does International Women's Day in 2026 mean to you, given the theme for this year?
Well, we know that International Women's Day happens on an annual basis, and some people use it kind of like a bookmarker, right? So something to check off their list. But for a lot of women, it's more than that. It's something that we take as a time to reflect, to see where we are, take the temperature, right? Do some data collection and see what's happening with women, not just, locally, regionally, but internationally as well. For me, it says whether we're moving in the right direction. And personally, whether I'm moving in the right direction, am I making choices that serve me as a woman, as a female, giving me that power? Because we tend to sometimes look at, is the system empowering us? Are the international systems and what is out there for us empowering us? But we forget sometimes that we have to empower ourselves as well and empower other women as well. So I think for me, International Women's Day is a time for me to reflect, and it's kind of close to my birthday enough, right? My birthday's in January. It's a nice time, beginning of the year, that first quarter, for you to take a temperature, take a beat on where you are at as a woman in your career, in your life. Is this what you're looking forward to, and is this what you want out of life as a female? Yeah.
Vanessa, if you'll just allow me, Joelle, you spoke about making the right decisions as women, and before the interview started, we were chatting about your background, which I found very interesting. If you can just tell viewers a bit about that, because you did not start off in writing, you did not start off in women's rights. It sounds like you had a bit of a career change. So let's just hear a little bit about your background, how you came into being an advocate for women's rights.
Well, in terms of my writing, I've always been a writer. I've been writing since I was a small child, and not penmanship writing. I'm talking about stories. I love stories. There's some of the great things that keep us grounded, give us that, that wide berth of imagination, take us to places that we don't visit all the time. And I started to write, little stories here and there, and it was just something that I really, really love. So I've always been doing that. But in terms of my career, I went into accounting. I first wanted to become a doctor. That's what my mother told me. You're going to become a doctor. So I said, okay, that's what I'm doing. And then my grandmother passed away, my whole world went topsy-turvy, and I said, what do I really love? And I love psychology. So I did behavioral science, and after doing that, as soon as I was finished, I was in Barbados at the time, and I got a job doing what? Accounts. And they basically told me, Joelle, we'd love for you to stay. We'll teach you whatever you need to learn. We'll, pay for you to go to school and whatever. So I said, well, okay. So I became an accountant then and been doing that for about 10 years before I moved back to Tobago. And from that I started to do more writing, get more into that, because I wanted to kind of take this as a time to kind of take a breath, that kind of way, and just take it a little lighter than I had been. But that hasn't happened.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, we women, we love to find things
and multitask. They said we are great at multitasking.
Well, that's what they say. I don't know if that's true, but we're great at finding stuff to do. Yeah, so I became the president. Well, then at that time, just a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Writers Guild. At that time, it was the Tobago Writers Guild. And through those, working with the guild, I learned quite a lot about writers and what they need, what kind of support they do have or don't have. And I realized I had a knack for marketing. It's not just a knack, I really, really love it. And I realized that a lot of writers don't get that after publishing support, especially in the Caribbean, where our main medium of getting ourselves published is through self-publishing. And that's where you pay a company to publish your work, not, like the Michael Anthony's, where they come to you and say, we want to give you all sort of money to publish a book, Stephen King kind of thing. So we in the Caribbean have a history of self-publishing, and because of that, you have to do a lot of the work yourself. And that means you have to do the after publishing, marketing yourself, distribution, get yourself out there, and a lot of writers just didn't have that support. So I started to help them, their social media, getting themselves together, getting their marketing and promotional material together, and that's how I ended up opening the company Caribbean Book Marketing Hub. So we try to make sure that the authors understand not just the market space for authorship and the orange economy, but understand yourself as an author, because you're an individual, right? It's not a cookie cutter, it's something unique to yourself. So we really try to model whatever you need, the packages that you may need, to how you would feel comfortable. So we don't just tell you, you have to get out there and kick you out the door into the public space, because a lot of writers are introverts. They like to be quiet, and not seen. They want to be behind the scenes. I had this one author, she told me, I just want to sell from behind the scenes, I said, oh, how is that going to work out for you? You're going to be behind the curtain and selling them the book, just so So it's something you have to finesse. And Caribbean people, we don't particularly like the public lights. Sometimes they like the applause,
the background.
Yes, but then when they realize, they have to be in front, no, especially women.
Yes.
I like to be in the background. They will do all the work. They don't want any of the
tradition still plays a part in our culture to a very great extent, in terms of how we view ourselves, how we express ourselves. We are coming out of it, but you still have persons who are still operating like that.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, Joel, we just spoke about women in traditions and still wanting to be in the background. What was one of the mindset shifts that you had to have as a woman to ensure that when you're in the light, you are comfortable and you continue to lead in the way that you need to lead, given your extensive portfolio?
Oh, wow. Renessa, I am an ambivert, right? So I'm part introvert, part extrovert. More introvert than extrovert. So some of the things that a lot of people may see me doing, and I hear them saying, oh, you're always out there, and I like, when I'm finished, I have to go and shut away.
Hibernate.
Yes. I don't want to hear anybody. I don't want to see anybody. And, that could be 1 hour of being out and a whole day of being in, right? And so for myself, as an ambivert, more of an introverted person, I would say to persons like myself who may wonder, well, how am I going to go out there and promote myself or my book or talk about my work? You have to understand who you are first and serve that purpose first. Don't try to be anybody else, and make sure you set aside time to really, I would say, be kind to yourself, be soft with yourself, Sometimes we have a very harsh inner voice. We talk to ourselves very roughly. you know, and we get that from somebody having done it to us, you know, growing up, that this is the way you get yourself motivated, this is the way you push yourself. So I would say, in terms of myself, you know, I spent time with myself, and I'm still learning myself, who Jewel is and what does she need. And I'm speaking in the third person simply just to give you an idea. These are questions you could apply to yourself as well. What do you need as a person, whether you're an introvert, extrovert? But if you're a writer, creative in the orange industry, in the orange economy space, you know, what do you need to pour back into yourself? Because being a creative means you're pouring a lot of your work out there. You're putting a lot of your essence out into the public space, and you will need to replenish yourself. So you have to figure out, what does that look like for me? And how much of that do I need? And to set aside time to do that. Yeah.
You know, Joel, this year's theme, Rights, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls, and I just want to connect what you do a bit to the theme. You know, there are some women out there, I mean, you spoke about starting off in accounting, and then you did psychology. They are the women who really, they're not sure. They're at a crossroads. They are not sure what they want to do. They may have a passion for writing, but they think, you know what, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can be a writer. But there is an inner voice saying, this is what you're born to do or supposed to do. I want you to speak to that woman out there who might just be very indecisive and lacks the confidence to step out into that area that they may have an innate passion for.
That's such an important question for us to ask ourselves. But I would say to such a person, one, that Caribbean model we have of this one career. You have to start and finish. Right where you started, that's where you'll finish. That no longer applies. The way that we live our lives is so multifaceted, so dynamic. You know, you can have, and I wouldn't say that this works for everybody all the time. During the course of your life, you may have to switch and change, but I think you can, you know, bob and weave in terms of what your interests are, what draws you, right? What pulls you, gravitate towards those things. And you need not stick to one thing. I mean, I was told from a very little girl that I would be a doctor. That's what I had to do. And then to come to realize I didn't want to do that at all. The amount of, you know, hours I was spending in that lab, I just did not enjoy it. I said, if this is what it is, all this time indoors, can't see outside, you know, I didn't feel like that was for me. It's a perfectly good career, but it has to be something you love. And I think we're heading into an era where we have careers that we love versus careers that only pay our bills. And I think once you're able to marry those two things together, the ability to take care of yourself financially, as they say, have economic freedom, and be able to, you know, feel yourself being expansive in all the areas of creativity, all the areas of smartness that you have, all those things you're able to tap into. I think that's the way to be. Not, you know, don't put yourself in this one box, and don't let society do it to you either, you know, because they'll tell you you should only be a mother and mothers can't do this, and you should only be a daughter and daughters shouldn't do that, and you should only be a church girl and you can't do this. And I think that's for you to decide. That's not for anybody to tell you. People can give you advice, but I think you should listen to that inner voice that you talked about, Avian, that tells you who you really are, what really, you know, sets you on fire, what wakes you up in the morning, you know, gets you going. You alone know what that is.
But you know, Joel, you made a very important statement earlier when we were talking about pivoting and changing courses. And that spoke to me a lot because, as you said, growing up, especially within the Caribbean diaspora, we are often told that you are only one thing and one thing only as a woman. When it comes to men, they are allowed to go and pursue all these different paths. And I know sometimes there's that conflict within ourselves as young women growing up in this space and trying to understand, okay, I like this one thing, I also like this other thing, but how can I marry the two? And you also spoke to being economically free. Now we're going to go into a bit about economic justice. Now, what does economic justice look like for you in 2026 and beyond, especially for women?
Well, let me tell you, economic justice for me means that I am able to access all the things, all the doorways, all the pathways to economic freedom that anybody else would, whether it's based on race, religion, your sexual proclivity, or whether it's based on the fact that, you may be wanting to follow a certain path in life. I think economic freedom and justice means that the world does not restrain us as women in terms of how much we can make. Equal pay, we're talking about that as well. Are you earning the same level of pay that a man would earn in that same profession at that level? And those are some of the things we're talking about when we look at economic justice. And we're also looking at, that free work we women love to do, all the housekeeping and house cleaning, and they feel that that is relegated to you as a woman. So sometimes we meet, a partner, a mate, even at work, they think, keeping the kitchen area clean, washing all the mugs that everybody has had their tea in, that's your work, right? So get that nurturing out. And if you don't do that now, you want to talk about, she's not really that kind of, that nurturing kind, because you don't want to walk behind everybody and clean, right? But, to go back to economic justice, it comes back to that. Are we looking at the amount of work you're putting out into the space, into your world, into your environment, even at home? Is that work being rewarded in the way it should be rewarded? And even if not rewarded, but recognized in the way it should be recognized. So sometimes we're talking about maternity leave, and not just 3 months or a month, right? People who have had children understand they need a little more time home. The nursing, breastfeeding, those are the weaning. Why pay somebody else to watch your child when you want to watch them? When you want to be there to see all those things. So when we talk about economic justice, we are talking about all the work that women put out there, and if it's recognized and if it's rewarded. And we had a conversation, in the THA space recently, where the chief secretary, when they were going up for election, his party said they're going to give $500 for every birth, right? And I think that's a good start. But we also have to look at paternity leave too, because that's a way to support the woman. That's a way for the father to bond with the child, but also, and all of those things may sound like, how is that economic justice? Because you have to pay somebody now to come help you. And you have a partner who can do that. So why isn't society allowing you all to be able to do what you all are doing, parenting and growing together as a couple, do it economically? So I think all of those things mean economic justice to me. When I feel as a woman, I don't have to spend $300 in the supermarket trying to get all my supplies. You know how that is, right? Because you have to get the pads and the tampons and the panty shields and the tablets, and you want to be prepared, right? And it's quite a labor of love if you want to take care of yourself properly, sometimes on your pocket. Yes. And I think that also is economic justice. Is it equal when we are spending money and men are spending money? So,
it'll never be equal.
Now, Joel, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning and giving your thoughts on the orange economy, economic justice, women's rights, and what it really means for women here for International Women's Day 2026 and what we need going forward as women and the continuous evolution. Viewers, I want to thank you for joining us. But remember, when we come back from the break, we continue the conversations. It's going to be women in religion. But remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
This is how it's gonna go. once again. They better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show. More, live more.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes for breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti served with chokers, bull joil and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Coming up, bets, pan, parades, soca. Yes, Carnival is in full swing. Artists from all over added their strokes to Antigua and Barbuda's canvas. A boost for these Barbadian projects through the power to make a difference. Equal servings of culture and good cheer. It's Caribbean Passport TV right here on this station.
Promotion presents Laugh and Live this Good Friday, 7 p.m. It's non-stop laughter at Bertrude Legacy Park, Lowlands. Special guest from Jamaica, Mr. Funny himself, Owen Blacker Ellis. From Trinidad, Rising Comics, Alan the Entertainer, and Son. And from Tobago, Amateur Comic, Bishop Terence Baines. Listen, this is a laughing matter. Get your tickets now at Den's Electronics, 2nd floor, Port Mall, Scarborough. And Island e-tickets or call 685-1988. At the door, you will pay more. It's gonna be a family affair. Laughter is good for the soul, whether you're young or you're old. So get your tickets now. You can't afford to miss it. Add some laughter to your Easter.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant and full of possibility. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people and its progress. And today, we're going even further. We're deepening our commitment to the region, continuing to invest in the networks, services and digital solutions that move Caribbean businesses forward. Whether you are a mid-sized business or multinational player, we bring you resilient connectivity, personalized service, and tailored IT solutions, all powered by local teams that truly have your back. We're here to help you navigate challenges, grow, and achieve your goals with practical solutions, reliable networks, and a partnership rooted in trust and your long-term success. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers, and you are viewing on screen the Orange Hill traffic light. We are seeing traffic moving freely from west to east and from east to west at this point. We're also seeing individuals coming from that Orange Hill road heading down to the west area, and we are seeing also traffic building up on the side with the gas station this morning. They are waiting for that traffic light to turn green so that they can head over into Orange Hill this morning. Viewers, it is still light on the traffic report this morning, and we want to urge you to get out on the road. Viewers, welcome back. And in studio with us we have Purwati Bipa. She's the head of the Hindu Society. We also have Gathelyn Arthur Chance, pastor of Holistic Transformation Ministries, and we are talking women in religion. Good morning and welcome to you, beautiful ladies.
And good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Now we're talking about women in religion this morning, and I want to ask the both of you, as women in spiritual leadership, what does International Women's Day mean within your faith community? So I'm going to start with you, Miss Purwati.
Okay, International Women's Day, it means a lot to us to show you the way forward which you lead others in the society in which you carry about yourself, with the youth that you have, promoting them, and letting them know that the role each and everyone have to play, and you as the leader will direct them in which way we will go.
And over to you, Mrs.
Well, for me, International Women's Day is a day when everybody concentrates on the woman. And you know, in contemporary society, there is a fight for equality. You know, so in our sphere, the woman is always important for us. But the day just means that there is more concentration on the woman and the role of the woman, and that desire for some women to have equal rights and responsibilities as our male partners.
And on that point, Mrs. Chance, do you believe that within your role as a spiritual leader that you are given much more a harder time in executing your role as a spiritual leader as opposed to your male counterparts?
Well, my boss is the Holy Spirit. And I remember when I got into this, it wasn't me deciding that I want to do it. It was a vision that I got from God. And I remember going to the bishop of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the West Indies, and I told him that God had given me a call into the ministry and I will obey the Holy Ghost. You know, I respected him, but I would obey the Holy Ghost who calls us into ministry. However, there is still, you feel it, you know, that women are subservient in certain ways as to how they regard them, how they will relate to them, you know. But I have always been a fighter because I have 6 brothers and a father who showed me, who you know, explained to me who I am. So I'm not easily pushed down.
And that's one of the most interesting things that we've been hearing over the years, especially in this week as well, how women are viewed as strong, because we have always had to put up that extra fight to ensure that we stay in the spaces that we step into. Now, Mrs. Beepard, I want to ask you, do you believe that women experience a different calling to spiritual leadership?
No, I think we deserve the same quality as men do, because nowadays there are a lot of women that are in different faiths than men. Most of them carry about their religion, because in the Hindu tradition and our tradition, there are lots of women now that, you know, we would have a spiritual leader upon it, but nowadays we have a lot of women that is reading the holy books, the Ramayana and all of that, so they carry about the religion.
Now, we know that in past times as compared to now, the roles of women have been changing slowly. How do you reconcile tradition with modern women's empowerment and how it is viewed now with how women operate then versus now, especially as it relates to women of faith?
I'm happy that I was born in the time that I was born, because I've studied the history of women, you know, versus men, and the responsibilities I'm a Christian. I don't subscribe too much to religion, because I believe that religion is just a set of rules, and religion is what is causing all the problems, you know, in our society. So I believe in having a relationship with God. And if you have a relationship with God, it means that God will speak to us. You know, he's our friend, he's a lover to us. You know, like when you have a relationship with a man, he's a lover to you, and you could understand each other and you hear each other. It's the same thing with the relationship with God. As it relates to the Pentecostal views concerning women in ministry, though, there are two schools of thoughts. There's the complementarian Pentecostal view, where men and women are equal in value but different in role. And then there is the egalitarian Pentecostal view, where men and women are equal in value and role. I subscribe to the egalitarian view, because there's a part of scripture in Joel in our Bible that says, and I believe that this is indeed the last days, when we see what is happening in our world, you know. And Joel said, the Lord will pour, he was a prophet, I will pour my spirit upon all men, you know, and it spoke about, it referred to men and women, you know, and then it spoke about the handmaidens. I am one of the handmaidens, and it doesn't matter what people think. I go according to, I follow the word of God. I know that even in Pentecost, you know, in Pawi, there is a constitution that denies the woman from being the head of the ministry. But as I said before, I do not subscribe to the complementarian Pentecostal view. I do what God wants me to do. I ignore it. I know I may not get to that place, but labels doesn't mean anything to me. Once I fulfill the role that God has called for me, called me to do, I know that there is an assignment for my life, and I will fulfill my assignment as it relates to my relationship with God.
Now, I have a question that I'm going to direct to the both of you. Is submission in religious teachings often misunderstood, especially as it comes to the role of the woman? So I can start with you, Mrs. B.
Right, well, I don't know if I have the question correct, but in our teaching, we do have the pundits that would explain, as they go along reading the holy book, they would explain the different chapters as we go along. I mean, I am not too versed in that, but you know, we keep on learning Hindi and all these things as we go through the Hindu society. Please.
I believe that God has blessed women with knowledge and intelligence, and the Bible speaks in the Genesis of things, in the book of Genesis, concerning the creation of man. You know, God made man. I believe that man is a species, you know. So as you know, we may see a dog and we will say that's a dog, but we may not define whether it is male or female. Whether it's male or female, we will call it a dog, right? It's a species, an animal. I believe that God made the species called woman, called man. You know, but God had to take that rib excuse me, from Adam, place it in the woman because of the function of the woman as it relates to procreation. However, I have a husband, and I live according to the word of God, and the word of God says that the man is the head of the woman as Christ is the head of the church. I subscribe to that. I understand the power that my husband has and that my 6 brothers and my fathers had. I could understand the role. They protect us, you know, and I enjoy the protection that I got from my 6 brothers and a father that loved me, you know. But I understand that it has nothing to do with our roles as it relates to ministry. Because we have heard of women in ministry even in those days, since in the Azusa Street revival that women were preaching, you know. And I'm trying to remember the name of that woman who was very in the forefront as it relates to healing and whatnot. I'm trying to remember her name, but at 60 you forget, you know. But yeah, the Bible speaks about submission, but there is a part that goes with what I told you a while ago. He says, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. You know, Abraham's wife Sarah called him Lord. There was a love that Abraham had for Sarah. I thank God for a man that loves me, and if my husband loves me as he does, then there's no problem with submitting. Yet we put our heads together in order to make decision. The final say is always his. As it relates to the word of God, the same revelation that God could give to a man, he gives to a woman, because he has poured out his spirit upon all flesh. He did not define the flesh of man and the flesh of woman. So the same, I may not have the strength and the power physically, but spiritually, I can do just as much as a man and perhaps even more.
Now, can a woman be both spiritually grounded and fiercely ambitious? I think over the years, and there's a misconception that sometimes women believe that if I am within a religious entity or I am serving the Lord, and there are certain scriptures that they may misconstrue or maybe look at in a different way. They think that being ambitious or trying to go after things or to ensure that I have a business or I want to do this, I want to do big things in life, that it would conflict with my spiritual values. What are your views on that?
Well, I never really come across that that part of it. But I think if you devote yourself to a religion and you are in charge, it shouldn't, your business should not hamper, because it come like if you're working and you have a day to go to church and all of that, or go to temple, what day, you would put aside your work value, and then you go to your religious activity the next time. So it shouldn't hamper the
Any thoughts?
That's my thought.
Yeah, there is a strength that women have that I believe men don't have. We are able to multitask. I am able to, because, I mean, we are intelligent beings. So I've been a teacher since I was 18 years, you know, and I was able to take care of my husband, take care of my home, take care of the children. God just placed that thing with us, that we are so strong that we are able to fulfill our many roles. And that's a good question, because even within the ministry, I have a ministry, but I have a school. I have a home for women that don't have houses, you know, the things are difficult, and I have business, you know, and God said that he will pour out his spirit upon everybody and we will be blessed. If you have a relationship with a God and you're doing the right things and you're in obedience, everybody will be blessed. So we are blessed, just as blessed as the male partners are blessed. So he blessed us with abundance, and business will be one of that.
Now, Mrs. Bepath and Mrs. Chance, I want to thank you so much for coming on this morning and sharing your insights as women in religion and in your spirituality, and just encouraging our young women who are looking on as well, and even those who are more mature as well, to give that bit of encouragement and insight to understand as women, even in the spiritual entity of things that we are still pertinent, we are still needed, we are necessary, and we are the pillars. And we may not like to say this, but we are the backbone of majority of what happens within our society. I want to continue to encourage you to continue to be that pillar in your communities, in your homes, and I wish you all the best going forward this year, and happy International Women's Day to the both of you.
Thank you for having us, and you stay strong. Don't let them tumble you.
Thank you very much. So viewers, we want to remind you to stay tuned. Up next, we have Women in Culture. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. And remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Promotion presents Laugh and Live this Good Friday, 7 p.m. It's non-stop laughter at Birchwood Legacy Park, Lowland. Special guest from Jamaica, Mr. Funny himself, Owen Blacker Ellis. From Trinidad, Rising Comics, Alan the Entertainer, and Son Son. And from Tobago, amateur comic, Bishop Terence Baines. Listen, this is a laughing matter. Get your tickets now at Den's Electronics, 2nd floor, Port Mall, Scarborough. An Island e-tickets or call 685-1988. At the door, you will pay more. It's gonna be a family affair. Laughter is good for the soul, whether you're young or you're old. So get your tickets now. You can't afford to miss it. Add some laughter to your Easter.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Do more, live more.
place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning.
You think it's almost.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back. We are on to our last interview for the programming this morning. We are here with Ayana Ned, and we are talking about women in culture. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ayana.
Hey.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Now, Ayana, you are no stranger to the Tobago space when it comes to creativity. And last year, you were crowned the Monarch of Mass 2025 winner with a creation that you made yourself from scratch, and I think you documented it as well on TikTok.
Yes, I did.
Now, what did that moment mean for you culturally and especially as a woman within the creative space?
Well, I am always up to trying something new. So me going into this, I did it with the mindset of, let me just try it and see, how it would go. And it's still a bit unreal that I went through the process and came out the winner. I am still reveling in the moment, honestly. Yeah.
And what was interesting, Vanessa, is that I was chatting with Ayana before the interview started, and she said, it was the first time she's doing something like this, which she just said, first time participating, and here it is, she came out a winner. And we were just saying, Joel, who we chatted with earlier, spoke about the fact that, we don't like to be out there so much. Ayana, what made you venture into it? Yes, we know you are the creative Ayana Cosmo Ned, who everybody knows.
So usually I am always behind the scenes, like doing events, doing makeup, photography for events. And I just wanted to try something new. And I said, am I going to make a costume for somebody, or am I going to do it myself? And I was like, the best person to do this would be me and execute. So as scared as I was like, okay, just do it. And I did.
Did you always see yourself getting into the creative industry from a child growing up? Was this always your passion? Did you have other passions?
Well, being creative was always my first love. Anything creative, I would do it. So persons usually come to me for all sorts of stuff because they say, Ayana could do it. So they would come. So it came naturally. It's something I knew I could do. I just didn't know how I was going to do it.
Now, do you feel the cultural space is evolving to truly support women, or do we still have a little bit of pushback when it comes to women stepping into these spaces?
I think there's always room for women. I think we just have to show up and show that we could do it. The confidence must be there, So, yeah.
Now, Ayana, I knew you as, your name on Facebook for face painting. You said you're a makeup artist, you're a photographer, you build sets from scratch. So you're doing quite a number of things in this sphere. Does it sometimes feel a bit overwhelming? Are you sometimes worried that, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'll be able to meet this demand, or as I advertise more, I'm gonna get more demand? Does it feel overwhelming as a woman to balance all these services at times?
It does. I'm always in a state of go, but sometimes what I do to balance myself is, I would take a lot of jobs, let's say for a 2-week period, and then I would say, okay, I'm taking this week off, I'm not gonna work. So that is how I kind of balance it. I would work, and then I would say, because I'm self-employed, I am able to do this. So I set my schedule. When I say, okay, I had enough, I rest. Yeah.
Economic freedom.
Exactly. I was going to that point as well. Can you also share a bit of how being within the creative space has created that arena or area for you to thrive economically, for you to feel as free as you do as a woman? Because I know over time and over the years, we have always spoken about how women having financial freedom gives them the opportunity to choose and to not tolerate certain things. Can you give a bit about how expressing your creativity and using that as a business venture has really shaped your experience as a woman?
Well, I think especially in my photography business, I have a niche. So this is not something that everybody is doing. So I have that space where people would come to me for that specific thing. Women are comfortable around me. So I think that's a plus, and I'm able to attract more persons, you know, to work with, and the experience has always been good.
Ayana, the producer, is saying we have 3 more minutes, but tell the viewers where they can find you. Yes, I see you on Facebook, but everybody might not be on Facebook. Tell them where they can find you. How can they access Ayana?
Okay, so on Instagram, I have a lot of pages. So there's Cosmos Glam Studio Photography. There's Cosmos Glam Studio Beauty for my makeup.
And that's Cosmos with an S at the end.
Yes, correct.
Cosmos.
Yes, and you could also follow me on TikTok, because there I share my builds or the creative process to how I do my work. So I'm on TikTok as Ayana Ned.
Excellent.
Now, viewers, you have a live review from one of Ayana's past clients. I am one of Ayana's past clients. So do check her out. And we want to thank you, Ayana, for coming on this morning and just giving us a bit of insight into your creative process and how you have evolved over the years.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for doing such an excellent job. Imagine she said she was nervous. I know Vanessa. I couldn't see it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Avian, it was so good in co-hosting with you this morning. It was good to really have that discourse and really interact with the women here in the Tobago space and really getting them out in this week of International Women's Day under the theme Rights, Justice, Action for Women and
Girls.
It was good to share this set with you this morning.
It was a pleasure, Vanessa. A different space, a different sphere or space, a different side of the table. But I really enjoyed it. As I said, it's always a pleasure being here on Tobago Updates, and I'm being directed to the statement made today by the Honorable Prime Minister, and I'm sure most of you have heard or you have seen. We have the statement by the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bissessa SC, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, on the declaration of a state of emergency effective today, Tuesday, 3rd March 2026. So if you have not as yet seen it, you can go to the Office of the Prime Minister page. The statement is up on the screen. So this is with immediate effect today, 3rd of March 2026. And Her Excellency has declared we are back in a state of emergency. So please take note of this notification, get the information, and we shall all operate accordingly. Thank you so very much for having me on Tobago Updates. Thank you to Mr. Ronald Wood and the others behind the camera. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Vanessa.
Now, viewers, as we wrap up the programming for Tobago Updates Morning Show, the programming here at Tobago Updates is not finished. We have GMT up next. And I want to remind you again to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Committed to excellence, we chart a course, we forge ahead, achieving our goals, we set a standard at Scarlet.
rooted to excellence. Our 65-year legacy of success is built upon the firm foundation laid by our visionary leaders and educators. We honor the legacies of past principals, past vice principals, and past and present members of staff and our stakeholders. Let us also continue to champion the holistic development of our students, a mission that remains enshrined in our vision statement. To be the premier institution providing learning experiences that produce healthy, critical thinkers and lifelong learners ready for a changing global environment.
65 years is a long, long time. 65 years of nation building. I say nation building because every child entering the corridors of Scarborough Secondary, they are empowered to go out and build, be a part of nation building. So I want to congratulate you on this special occasion.
65 years ago, a seed was planted, and today we stand in this sanctuary not just to look back at history, but to declare a future. Our theme is We Rise Again, and church, that is not just a slogan, it's a mandate. We are reaching into the stratosphere of excellence. To our students, the stratosphere is high. It is vast and is exactly where you belong.
Your theme this morning, We Rise Again, speaks powerfully to the story of this school. It gives us a sober reminder that through change, challenge, and transition, Scarborough Secondary School has continued to rise and renewed in vision and strengthened in resolve. Anchored by its enduring motto, committed to excellence, this institution has remained steadfast in its pursuit of high standards, strong character, and purposeful education.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are looking at here is an overhead shot of the Rockley Vale traffic light on the Claude Noel Highway. As you can see, there's a smooth flow of traffic heading both east and west, but there's always that slow movement of traffic that heads into Scarborough from the eastern side at this particular traffic light. And there's that pileup that you can always see, a slow movement of traffic, but movement nevertheless right at that Darrell Spring walkover, right up to the Wilson Road traffic light, and the usual backup that you're going to see from the Wilson Road traffic light straight up to that Bishop's High School walkover heading east. Other than that, you know, you are going to get to your destination on time, I predict this morning, as long as you have left on time, and you can definitely get into the office still at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you back to Good Morning Tobago. Guys, you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we head into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. In-person migrant interviews begin today at the Dwight York Stadium till March 11th. This is a critical step for registered migrants in Tobago to verify their status and finalize work permits. Authorities are urging applicants to arrive only at their scheduled times to ensure all original documents are ready for inspection and to avoid delays in the processing line. Additionally, the Tobago House of Assembly is reaffirming its neutral stance on international affairs, while the Assembly expressed support for Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessa's recent address at CARICOM's 50th Heads of Government meeting in St. Kitts. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine maintains that Tobago remains laser-focused on internal development and regional cooperation. Additionally, landlords, your deadline is ticking. Online registration for landlord business surcharge officially commences yesterday. All property owners earning rental income above the designated threshold must register through the new digital portal. Failure to comply by the end of the current quarter could result in significant penalties under the updated tax code. And finally, on the political front, the People's National Movement will be hosting a press conference later today, which comes on the heels of the 21st sitting of the House of Representatives last Friday. This briefing follows their National Women's League meeting at Balizé House earlier in the day on Saturday, February 28th, which preceded the party's General Council meeting that afternoon. And that was on news in 90 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we jump straight into our conversations, and of course, you know, this week we have been highlighting and talking a lot about International Women's Week and Women's Day. And to have a quite interesting conversation with me this morning, I have the privilege of sitting and chatting online with Bridget Anisette George, who is also the former Speaker of the House, and we are talking about women parliamentarians in Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Ms. Felix, and good morning to your listening audience.
Good morning.
And may I start off by sending greetings, because it's there on your screen, sending greetings to Trinidad and Tobago and to women in particular. And this week, as we gear up for the celebration of International Women's Day this weekend.
Excellent. It's always a privilege to see you looking quite radiant as ever. We like this look on you. And you know that you have been doing a lot of work with young women, particularly in the Parliament, with this Women in Parliament program that has been happening for a while. Tell us a bit about that and why it is important for, even during this time of celebrating women, for young women and girls to get involved.
Okay, so thank you, Ms. Felix. The Women's Parliamentarians of Trinidad and Tobago, which is an organization which was started as a not-for-profit organization made up of former and current parliamentarians, female parliamentarians. We felt that while young women and women in general have made advancements, there is a dearth of women in leadership positions, particularly when you look at our decision-making bodies like our Parliament, the Tobago House of Assembly, municipal corporations. Yes, we are there, but our numbers are not commensurate with the advancements that we've made. So our commitment is really to train women for leadership, young women for leadership, and also to give them the necessary support that they need. Our program, our first program, was held in 2024. So this is our third cohort. It is an 8-week training period, and we train young women in diverse areas, from leadership to AI, the ethical use of AI, also in terms of parliamentary practice and procedure, debate skills, research skills, etiquette, diplomacy. So it's a very broad-based area of training. Our program ends with a simulated parliamentary debate. So the young women have the opportunity to be in the chamber of the House of Representatives. It is really a House of Representatives debate, and they are assigned various constituencies, ministries, including the office of the Speaker, the clerk, and they simulate a parliamentary debate. After that, there is also a community outreach program. So the girls get an opportunity to bring interaction, what they have learned. As I said, this is our third cohort. Applications have been opened just about a month ago, and applications close at 4 p.m. on the 9th of March, which is next Monday.
Your tenure as Speaker of the House, is this one of the programs that you are rather proud of? And tell us why.
Okay, so what I would say is I don't ascribe this program to me personally. I would say that this is a program that has been developed and supported by a broad base of women parliamentarians. We are non-partisan. So if you look at our executive, you would see how broad-based we are. So currently, the Honorable Penny Beckles Robinson is our president. We have as our secretary, Tina Gronlund Nunes, who was a former minister. We have as our programs and projects officer, Mrs. Carolyn C. Prasad Bechan, who also was an MP and also a Minister of Energy. We have Mrs. Christine Sahadeo, who is our mentorship and training officer. And she was, as you know, a former Minister of Finance. And we also have as our our public engagements officer, Ms. Marsha Riley, who was a former independent senator. So I really don't ascribe this to me. While it did come to light during my tenure, I really give credit to this program, to the broad base of women parliamentarians who see the need to contribute, to assist young women to get to those leadership positions where decisions are made, to find their voice.
And from the first cohort to now, I would imagine that you have seen the transition of a number of young women. Are there ever instances where you look back to your first interaction with some of the past participants and look at where they are now, you know, when you see them, whether you interact with them on the street or at events, and you're just in awe of the impact that the program has had?
Yeah. So you're quite correct, Ms. Felix. In each cohort, we aim to train 50 young women. So it means that we have trained in the last two cohorts 100. And it's always heartening when you see where the young women have reached. Some of them have formed their own NGOs, so they continue to be advocates. You meet them and they say they're doing a master's program. They come back. Some have come back as alumni to help contribute to the program as we lay it out. So, you see them in different spaces. I have seen some of them on programs. I've seen some of them go to regional seminars and, articulate views. It is really very warming to see how these young women have picked up the mantle and showing their leadership, their interest in service, their interest in building community, their interest in developing Trinidad and Tobago.
Right. And mentorship has been said to be one of the key pillars of building success, specifically in one's youth. Tell us a bit about the mentorship component of this program.
Yes. So as we say, there is an opportunity to meet one-on-one and treat one-on-one with current and former parliamentarians. We share our experiences in terms of our struggles, our challenges, our successes, how we, do that work-life balance. That cyber threats, misogyny are really live issues that young women have to treat with, and women in general have to treat with. So we, also mentor them with respect to that. I think what they see reflected in us is a real, tangible reach that their aspirations can be realized. Also, apart from us as mentors, the young women get to interface with other subject matter experts. So they get to interface with diplomats. There is a diplomacy component of our program. And, there is a sort of Meet the Diplomats Day where they get to interface and also be mentored by diplomats. And we have other stakeholders like the female judges. Again, the young women get that opportunity to see and treat and deal with one-on-one with female judges who participate in the program. So, the mentorship is not just limited to women parliamentarians. It's a wider base opportunity. And we have plans during the course of this year to also expand the reach of mentorship to our participants and our former participants in terms of meeting with other regional women and international women. Of course, the technology helps that become a reality.
Excellent. And this is really exciting and groundbreaking in terms of being able to bridge that gap in terms of young women having access to other female leaders from different parts of the region. Tell us again, how can persons access the forms in order to apply for this program? What is the criteria for entry?
Yes. So the criteria for entry is that you must be between 18 and 29. Of course, you must be female and you must be a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. Other than that, and of course, you have an interest in service and being a change agent. Other than that, you are welcome. It's a question, we're not limited by geography, we're not limited by demographic, save and except within the 18 to 29 age group. We're not limited by any kinds of abilities. We've had doctors, we've had lawyers, we've had teachers, we've had tertiary students involved in tertiary education. So we are open to all. The process, though, of applying is two-pronged. There is a form. Our forms are accessible on both our Facebook platform and our Instagram platform. You just have to put in Women Parliamentarians TT and it comes up. We also have forms distributed in the offices of the 41 MPs in Trinidad and Tobago. So you get the form there. When you go online, There is also a short video that helps and guides interested persons in how they prepare this video, a 3-minute video, which is part of the application process. And your video is really telling us about you, why you're interested in this program, what you think you have to offer to this program, what you expect of this program, your interests in changing anything in Trinidad and Tobago, your involvement in any NGO. So your program is your video is an opportunity to sell yourself. We have an evaluation process, which I can't do what those evaluators do, because imagine last year we had over 100 applicants to just select 50. We go through that evaluation process, and the 50 participants are identified, selected, notified, and they are invited to a public launch, reveal of who they are.
Understood. And again, we want to thank you for being here this morning and telling us so much about the Women Parliamentarian Project, as well as, the ability for young women, specifically here on the island of Tobago, to submit their application and be a part of the next cohort, all the experiences that they will gain, the networking opportunities among their peers, and to have that mentorship exposure in a number of areas, having experts ranging from public speaking, etiquette, AI, and a number of other areas that you highlighted here this morning. And so we look forward to seeing that grand reveal of the young women who are a part of the next cohort. And we are encouraging you, or viewers that are looking on this morning, if you know someone that might be interested, just go to Women Parliamentarians TT on Facebook or Instagram, and you would find the link there so that you can send them the link or even register yourself. This might just be your opportunity to get into the next dimension of what it is that you want to see for your life. Again, we want to thank you. And is there anything that you want to say to our viewers looking on as we close this morning?
Yes. So I would like to encourage young women to join our YES leadership program. YES stands for Young Women Empowered to Serve. And when you go to our platforms, you would see testimonials by young women who've taken part in the first and second cohorts, telling you what they've gained, how it has transformed their lives, how it has increased their confidence, their networking, their ability to present an argument. This program is for you. It is free. And therefore, we look forward to welcoming you, to being part of your development. And it is an exchange. You help develop us too. We learn from you also. So it is also a platform, an opportunity for respect, in that it's not just a hand-me-down. It's a filter up and down, an exchange. So we look forward to you joining. You have a few more days. Remember, applications close the 9th of March, which is Monday, at 4 p.m. See you come April in person.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Ms. Phillips.
Thank you so much to you, Vice President of the Women in Parliament, Trinidad and Tobago, and former Speaker of the House, Bridget Anisette George. And you will always be Madam Speaker to us. So again, I want to thank you and say have a great day to you guys. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back after this. See you soon.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new. Do more, live more. Do more, live more. Oh.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause it's this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show. Do more, live more.
Promotion presents Laugh and Live this Good Friday, 7 p.m. It's non-stop laughter at Bertrude Legacy Park, Lowlands. Special guest from Jamaica, Mr. Funny himself, Owen Blacker Ellis. From Trinidad, Rising Comics, Alan the Entertainer, and Son. And from Tobago, amateur comic, Bishop Terence Baines. Listen, this is a laughing matter. Get your tickets now at Den's Electronics, 2nd floor, Port Mall, Scarborough. And Island e-tickets, or call 685-1988. At the door, you will pay more. It's gonna be a family affair. Laughter is good for the soul, whether you're young or you're old. So get your tickets now. You can't afford to miss it. Add some laughter to your Easter.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Coming up, fets, pan, parades, soca. Yes, carnival is in full swing. Artists from all over added their strokes to Antigua and Barbuda's canvas. A boost for these Barbadian projects through the power to make a difference. Equal servings of culture and good cheer. It's Caribbean Passport TV right here on this station.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, ladies and gentlemen. What you are looking at there is an overhead shot of the Wilson Road traffic light right on the Claude Noel Highway. And as we know, usually during this time of the morning, there's quite a pattern that we have observed. Always a slow movement of traffic out of the Plymouth Road, Glen Road area. And there's always that slow movement as well from this traffic light going straight back to Bishop's High School heading east. But nevertheless, there is movement. So if you are on your way, you will definitely get there this morning. Again, you can see that there's that slow movement from the Bishop's area, from that Bishop's walkover, usually where you see that pile up happening. Quite a pattern that we've noticed right there every morning. And you know, we've heard from the Chief Secretary that there are plans to have a flyover from Sanctus Hill going all the way over the highway. Interesting to see how that might impact this pattern of a pile up that happens here usually on a morning. If you are heading to the office, we hope that you will get there safely this morning, although you might already be late. Ladies and gentlemen, we jump straight ahead into our conversation, and this morning we are talking all about what's happening for Easter in Tobago. We know that is one of our festive seasons here on the island, and one of those activities that you just could never miss is the Easter Monday celebrations that usually take place at Mount Pleasant. And to have that conversation with me this morning, I have the privilege of chatting with some members of the Canby Mount Pleasant Community Council in the form of Miss Anne Roberts, Miss Rollocks, and Jean Henry, who is the secretary. Good morning, ladies, and welcome.
Good morning. Morning.
Excellent. So we're talking a bit about the sporting activity and some of the planning activities that you guys are engaged in at this time. And this year will be the 51st year of the celebration. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, last year was our 50th, and we had a wonderful time. And this year being our 51st year, we want to bring on a new initiative of youths. Because we need succession planning. And for this year, we would like to have a youth volunteer program. And the youths could come, ages between 15 to 25, could come and register with us. And we will also be having our Holy Thursday parade in town. That is on the 2nd of April, and then we will also be having a walkabout in the area to kind of bring the youths together. We are hoping that the youths will come out and register, and we're also looking at having a youth arm of the council, because we have to groom them into what community life is about. For today, you are not getting much people doing volunteerism work, right? So that is one of our missions this year as we start early, and so that they'll have the feel of the sports and to know what work and the amount of work that go into planning the sports on a Easter Monday. Okay, and as a part of the volunteer project, can you tell us how many young persons you are targeting for the event? How soon will they come together to start planning? And is it that out of this group of young persons, you will then have start forming the youth arm of the council? Yes. Out of this group, we are hoping that the youth arm will be formed, and that in the future, these are the people from the area that will be able to move on with the council. And also, when they get this kind of experience, they will also be having a certificate to showcase that they are involved, right? That could put on their resume, right? So people could see, and when they send out for jobs and so on, you could see that you are a member of a area that is really into community work.
Understood. And Ms. Rollocks, tell us a bit about developing the sport over time, because we have heard from a number of persons saying, you know, the barrier to entry has become a bit too high, the financial burden on parents, for instance. You know, you hear parents say, maybe if I had one child, it would be easy. But now that I have 3 children, it's me having to pay to get into the sports for myself and 3 kids, and then you get in there and then you still have to pay for activities for them to partake in, and then the kids want food. So a number of persons have kind of stop coming to the sports or reduce their involvement over time because the price to entry has gotten higher over time, which matches the cost of living that has risen over time as well. But what can be put in place to develop the festival in such a way that it remains accessible to all?
Well, what we have on the card, well, normally is the admission is $30 for children. Under 5 is, of course, it's free. So if you come with your family and you have children under 5 years, of course that would be free. But you know, for now, you know, the cost of living and even the cost of everything over the years has escalated. And, you know, it has become even a burden on the organization itself, because over the years there are some sponsors who are custom sponsoring, and we're not getting the amount of money that they used to give us. So, you know, the village council would have to find ways in which to make up the difference in even the prize money. So, you know, that in itself, you know, is a burden, and also the expenditure of the police, the fire service, COT, EMA, all these things we have to pay for before the actual sports.
Understood.
You know.
And, you know, tell us a bit about this succession planning aspect of it, because you have been putting on this festival for the last 50 years, but have you considered putting together a manual or a document that documents the process of actually putting on the activities for the next generation to come? Because it will, you know, it won't be good if you leave with all the knowledge, all the connection, all the contacts for each and everything. What happens first, what happens second, what happens third? Has that been a conversation among
That is something that we have been working on since last year, because, you know, we wanted to do something different for our 50th. So the process has already started.
Excellent.
Right?
Well, we look forward to that being handed down to the youth to take over the festival moving forward. And, you know, there are a number of organizations who are interested in those community-based activities. We know Republic Bank as well as Digicel, key community-based partners in terms of these type of community activities, and that may be an excellent avenue to seek funding and sponsorship as well.
Right. One thing we want to mention, Tuesday the 10th of March, we'll be having the registration for our vendors. All the people who are interested in vending at the sports on Easter Monday, 5 p.m. we'll be at the community center taking the registration.
Excellent. And this time around, are you looking for a variety of vendors? Are you trying this time around to expand to, you know, allowing different types of vendors to be a part of the sporting activities?
Well, for the past so many years, we were trying to encourage them to have a variety. Yes, we have variety, you know, but not what we were really looking for.
Right.
You find that we want to have more like local food.
Right.
People to come with food, but you know, of course, everybody wants the fries, the hot dog, you know. So we're really trying to encourage people to come with a variety. I could remember last year there were some persons who came, one person in particular, the person came with food. And at a certain time in the evening, they were begging us to go out. Because why? They had food, and, you know, by the time you wink, their food was sold out.
Right.
So early, they're ready to pack up to go.
Right.
But you know, there was some other period, you find a lot of people with the fries, the hot dog, the cutters, and
right, because traditionally sports, you know, it goes with that
Yes.
type of fast food.
Yes.
But let's look at even the perspective of having that type of market at the sports as well, because we know that the sport attracts international audience, persons that are in Tobago for Easter, and therefore presenting an avenue for a number of vendors that are outside of actual food to showcase some of their local Tobago products and stuff like that. So
yes, we will
tell us about the market component.
Yes, we welcome that. We have vendors there with handicraft, some with clothing, balloon craft, you know. So we have a variety.
They have the face painting for the
yes,
kids,
yes.
all the things that attract children, but also knowing that it is adults that bring children, and it's adults that are working, and it's adults that actually have the money. So then you see the local candle makers, soap makers coming out, and this is your opportunity to, you know, come and showcase your brand. And so on the 10th of March, there is that opportunity for you to sign up at the community center in Mount Pleasant. That's
at 5 p.m.
At 5 p.m. And come out and be a part, bring out your brand. And this is the ability for you to have that level of exposure that is needed and be able to reach a wider demographic. And so for you young persons that are within Tobago, within the district, this is your opportunity to come out and be a part of it. Instead of complaining that it's no longer something that you want to partake in, what do you think is needed to help enhance the festivities, to bring it up to date with what you deem to be enjoyable now? And if that is one of the sentiments that you possess, then you need to join the village council and be a part of the youth volunteers. And there's a number that persons can call if they wish to volunteer.
We have a registration deadline, which is the 20th of March, right? And you can call 352-8383 or 474-4661. You can call any of those numbers to register. And early birds, we are looking for about 20 persons.
Right, and this is persons from 15 to 25.
Yes.
But I do think that they may make an exception for me, because I'm definitely going to be there. I'm going to be one of the volunteers. You know, I grew up in Mount Pleasant and very close to the field, actually. So this has been a huge part of my youth and growing up. It has been a key part of what it means to grow up in the area. And I know that there are a number of young persons that will be interested, so I'll definitely pass the information on. But I know that you guys have been a part of it from the very beginning. And so there's years of service that you have put in to bring it to where it is. But there's only so much that you can do. It's really time for the young persons to take the mantle and move it forward to be one of the greatest festivals to continue being celebrated over time. And hopefully we can go to 100 and even 200 and keep it going.
Well, other than that, we are hoping to have a 10K the morning. So we will also like them to be there, you know, and also on the Holy Thursday, that's the 2nd April, as I said before, we like them to come out because we want to have this spirit to showcase the sports, right? And we will start up at Tambay and come through Scarborough to showcase what we have, and also we will be having goats on the show and all like that.
Excellent. Right? Well, I do look forward to being a part of it and also putting the word out there for all young persons within that area, within that district, or just within Tobago on a whole to come out and be a part of the 20 volunteers that will be helping to move the sustainability of the Monday Easter celebrations in the Mount Pleasant area. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to say thank you to all guests from the Canby Mount Pleasant Community Council for all the work that they have been doing and continue to do. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back after this. See you soon.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. We're deepening our commitment to the region, continuing to invest in the networks, services, and digital solutions that move Caribbean businesses forward. Whether you are a mid-sized business or multinational player, we bring you resilient connectivity, personalized service, and tailored IT solutions, all powered by local teams that truly have your back. We're here to help you navigate challenges, grow, and achieve your goals with practical solutions, reliable networks, and a partnership rooted in trust and your long-term success. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you that as of today, Tuesday, the 3rd of March, Trinidad and Tobago is under a state of emergency. Now, this notification has come to us by the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bissessa, SC, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and the declaration of a state of emergency effective today, Tuesday the 3rd. And that means that, yet again, Trinidad and Tobago is under a state of emergency. And so you can access this press release on the page of the Office of the Prime Minister on Facebook if you would like to read closer. And so this is in effect as of today. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we continue our conversations, and I have the privilege of chatting this morning with Mr. Camille Ali, who is the director/head of the Muslim community here in Tobago. And we're chatting on a number of topics, particularly that we are in the season of Ramadan and some rising tensions that have been happening in the Middle East. If you haven't heard, over the weekend there was an airstrike that took place in Iran, and so we're talking a bit about that and how does that affect you and how does that affect the Muslim community. Good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning. So let me say good morning to the beautiful people of Tobago, and I also want to greet everybody with the universal greeting and the Islamic greeting of Assalamu Alaikum, which means peace, blessings upon each and everyone who are viewing this morning.
Excellent. And so we are in the time of Ramadan, and tell us about the irony.
Right, yes.
The irony of being in Ramadan while this heightened sense of tension is happening in the Middle East.
First of all, let me say thank you all for having me this morning. You know, as we observe the month of Ramadan, one of the most beautiful months, you know, being celebrated, observed all over the world, with approximately 2 billion Muslim. The Muslim population is growing, you know, all over the world. In this time, you know, it's a time of reflection. It's a time that, you know, we as Muslims, we observe the month of Ramadan by fasting and so many different things. But at the same time, you know, before we look what's happening abroad, you know, right in our country, this month we would have woken up to a state of emergency, you know, and this is alarming because we are seeing what is happening, you know, in our own country right here, you know, with the violence and so much of, you know, people being murdered on a daily basis, you know. So before I move on today, you know, I just want to say that, you know, it is very important that we observe what is taking place, you know, and I know that the government is trying their best, you know, with these things to see how they could deal with crime and so many other issues that is affecting our country. So I know that, you know, even as Muslims, as non-Muslim people on the whole, you know, we should be concerned about what is happening on the world. And yes, over the weekend we saw, you know, the strikes that is taking place in Iran, you know, and why should we be concerned? Because it affects us in one way or directly or indirectly, because we have a lot of people who are on pilgrimage right now in Saudi Arabia. We have citizens who are in the Middle East in different countries, Dubai and so many other countries that are on vacation, and currently people are stuck there right now because of the closure of airports and what is taking place, you know, the airspace, a lot of airspace have been closed off and so on. So sometimes people might say, you know, like these things doesn't really concern us, you know. And before I go on today, I just want to add, you know, even, you know, what is taking place in Sudan right now, this is something that is being overlooked.
Yeah.
You know, approximately, you know, 150,000 people have been killed in the last 2-3 years. Over 15 million people have been displaced, you know. So there's so much of things that is happening. And, you know, it does affect us as a people, as citizens, because, you know, when wars happen and things happen of this nature, you know, we know on the world stage what goes on. And sooner or later, it will trickle down to us, you know, economic-wise and so on. Then, as I said, that, you know, for the people, even we have a young Tobagoan who is stuck out there, you know. And as I said, yeah, so many other people, because when these things happen, let's say like to go on pilgrimage and so on, people would not be able to go, you know. Even during the month of Ramadan, a lot of people want to travel to Saudi Arabia for the Umrah pilgrimage, and they have to cancel their plans. And then those who have gone already can't come back right now because of all this what is taking place. Right. And I say that, you know, we as a Muslim community, we just want to pray for peace, and a good sense will prevail, you know, because as I say, you know, for something to start in the month of Ramadan, you know, it puts a damp on things. Right. And especially, you know, when so much of lives are being lost, because these things, when it happened, there are so much of consequences, because look, 100 and almost 75 school children were killed, and many more. So it has such a effect on people, on families, on people's lives, and so many different things. And as a community on the whole, even Muslim and non-Muslim community, we have to pray for these people for good sense to prevail, for peace, and at the same time to remember all these atrocities that are taking place in and around the world.
Right. I'm glad that you touched on that, and it goes beyond any religious affiliation.
Correct.
And it goes to the heart of mankind, because regardless of the fact that we may be separated geographically, we are all one, and we are all mothers, we are all fathers, sisters and brothers, and we can all feel the pain of a mother losing an innocent child, or a husband,
yes,
just by walking out the street, going to the grocery store, and not knowing that has been your last moment of faith because of political tensions that have almost nothing to do with you on a personal level. And we can all really relate and connect to the unfortunate circumstance that these persons are being put in, regardless of whether they are Muslim or Christian or Jew. We can relate. But one of the things that you said that is important is that persons should come together and pray, regardless of their religious background. It is a time where we must pray for the world, and we must pray for all leaders.
Correct. And one has to understand, even in these Middle East, these Arab countries and so on, all these countries, you have thousands and thousands of Christians living in these countries. There are churches, and people of all different religions. Even some of the Muslim countries, you have Hindus living, and they all live in harmony and in unity. So it goes beyond thinking that this is just a Muslim country. No, a lot of people live side by side, and all these people, as I said, they will be affected. They will be affected in one way or the other. And rightly, it goes beyond religion. It goes beyond creed, culture, and so on. And as I said, that in the month of Ramadan, this is a month that people look forward to. This will really disrupt almost all these people's lives, in the Middle East and so on, because people will be so afraid, they will be so worried, because the bombs are dropping all over, they are flying all over, and there's so much of uncertainty, and it's a heavy price that we pay in the long run for these things. So before people condemn and criticize, they have to look at the big picture. They have to look and see ultimately how this would affect us in so many different ways. And we in Tobago here, we are praying for all the people that are affected, Muslims, non-Muslim, all the people in the Middle East.
Right.
And we are just hoping that that good sense will prevail, and also at the same time that peace will prevail.
Yes, and peace overall.
Yes.
We are calling on you, our viewers, when you do say your prayer, that you will include the Middle East, Iran, and all those Arabic countries that are currently being affected. And keep Palestine in your prayer as well, because, the Gaza is still under threat. Keep Sudan in your prayer as well. Not because you are here in Tobago and you don't feel the effects of it now, doesn't mean that today it might be Iran, but tomorrow it could definitely be us. Things change so rapidly. Who can be your ally today can be your enemy tomorrow. And that's the importance of prayer, and the importance of the Chief Secretary even coming out and saying that Tobago remains neutral, even in our place in the world. And it's important, if we don't have the power, that we stay neutral at the very least. At the very least, but to ensure that we also advocate that wrong is wrong and right is right. And there's no time where genocide could ever be right. There's no situation where genocide is acceptable, where killing innocent people is acceptable. And when we look at the United Nations Charter, we see that any outright attack on a nation, it is against international law and international policy. But it seems as though international law and policy goes out the window when certain world powers make particular moves. And so it goes to the question of how effective is the United Nations Peace Committee and these peace treaties that exist within the world, when if certain negotiations are not going in a particular way, that countries can say, well, I do not want you to have any nuclear power and invade your country. And all the innocent persons living within that region, are now under threat. Do you have any perspectives on that?
Yes. At the end of the day, what I would like to say, as a people, as a nation, as a country, as a society, as a community, one thing in Tobago, as I say that, the interreligious, we live in harmony, it's really, really, we have a beautiful thing going, and, they have also come out and, supported the cause, and they are looking at what has taken place and so on. If we look back right here in Trinidad and Tobago, more Trinidad, we see so much a problem we are facing on a daily basis, crime, unemployment, and so many different problems. And as I say, when these things happen, and when it affects a society, at the end of the day, indirectly, it affects everybody. And, it is very, very important that, we continue to, pray for peace, we continue to pray for dialogue. And it is also important that we speak out, irrespective of what religious belief you come from, we have to come together, because at the end of the day, we are all children of Adam. So we are connected one way or the other, irrespective of what religion, we are from. So I would really hope, from our perspective, that good sense prevail. And I would hope that, we come together as a society and as a country, to first look at the problem and the ills that are facing all of us, in Trinidad and Tobago, and to work together to see how we could alleviate some of these suffering, some of these problems, the crime situation and so on. So again, going back to the international scale, I hope that, all our world leaders, because they are the ones who were chosen, to look after their countries, their respective countries, their nations and so on. So I hope that, everybody could come together, have dialogue and really put pressure that, this must stop, and we must all work together to achieve peace. Because if these things would continue, it would just make things more and more chaotic in this world. And this is something that, we can't afford to have right now. Because, look, if we look at life, how life is now, time is just going by so quickly. We just started January, we are in March already. The time is going by so quickly. The years are going, so many people, young people are dying, so many people, so much things are happening in and around the world today. And, we must understand, we must realize, that, living in Tobago and Trinidad, we must never take these things for granted. Because, when we was in the mosque yesterday, I was telling our members, look, we came here to break our fast. We have an iftar and dinner. Everybody was so happy. We are together. There's no bombs dropping over us. There's no problem that is happening. There's no militia. There's nothing, We live in such peace. And, and as a country, we are one of the best cosmopolitan society.
Right.
That all of us, all the religion, all the races in Trinidad, we are so united. And just so in the world, if we have a united world, we could help to alleviate some of these problems and some of these suffering. So it's very important that, we take the time out to think about these things. And, as I say again, it will have, great effect, on the world as a whole,
Yeah, exactly. And I want to thank you for taking the time out to come and chat with us this morning, just engaging with the Tobago public and reminding persons to keep the Middle East in their prayer, and that we are observing the month of Ramadan, and that, persons, regardless of their religious background, should definitely, stay laser focused as they pray, to not just think of themselves, but to think of persons in other parts of the world. And you said something that was quite critical. Even though we are in Tobago, we still are impacted by the effects of what's happening in other parts of the world. And even if you are up with international news and you hear how China boasts of their nuclear power, you will get to understand that although they seem like they are thousands of miles away, the power behind the nuclear energy that they are using can disrupt our entire region with one click of a button. And how much are we depending on technology that a missile would not come to the Caribbean, in the midst of war, in the midst of chaos, something that might be targeted towards one particular region can definitely be offset and end up in all parts of the world. And what would we say? You know, there's very little to say because we are quite small in number. But again, I want to thank you, and I want to remind Tobagonians that, you know, keep abreast. Don't just scroll past these stories because it doesn't seem to affect you directly. The more you know, the more you can pray, the more you can stay on your guard, and the more informed you can be as a citizen, and kind of look at how that impacts us here in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for being here this morning. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments. Thank you to the Muslim community in Tobago. Yes.
So, to the viewers who are viewing, you know, both Tobago and Trinidad, my message I would like to leave is the power of hope. You know, never give up on hope. Never give up on the Creator, and never take anything for granted. Because as I say, we in Tobago and Trinidad, we have to be so thankful and so grateful for all the favors that Almighty God has given us. We live in such a beautiful area. We enjoy so much, I think, every day. And you know, sometimes we overlook these things and people take these things for granted. Sometimes when you take things for granted, you know, it can be taken away from us. And always remember, once you have hope, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And somewhere or the other, you know, God doesn't forget you. He will always work out things. So this is my message to the public.
Yes. And once you are up to see another day, there's hope.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, again, we want to thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.